So this is the instruction video on how to make a pot using our extruder and our equipment. So the first thing we want to do is to plug our extruder in. We want to make sure that the extraction hood is turned on. That's very important because that's going to exhaust any gases or any fumes or any smoke that comes out of this. Okay? And to turn the extruder on, it's got two parts. One is the heater and the other one is the motor. All right, so to turn the heater on, just switch, and we want to set the temperatures. The temperatures will be set depending on the type of material you use and the type of member that you're making, right? So today we're going to be making a pot out of polypropylene, and polypropylene melts at a lower temperature. So we're going to set this at about 175 degrees for the nozzle, 170 degrees for the barrel, and 175 for the feed. Right? For other plastics like HDPE, the temperature will be different. Right? And then we'll have instructions for all of those temperatures. Right, so we turn it on and let it raise up to its temperature. While it's doing that, we want to turn the oven on. And set it to about 160 degrees. And we want to preheat our molds. So we have 3 molds here. 2 of them have the ejector pins and 1 of them doesn't. Okay, so we're going to put these in and we're going to let that heat up while the extruder is heating. So that should take about 10-15 minutes to warm up. Okay. And as it's doing that, we also want to have some water. This water is going to be used to cool our mold down when we take it out. Alright, so we can see that the extruder heater has heated up close to the right temperature. We've set it for about 170 degrees and it's coming up to there. Right, now we notice that at the front it's still a little bit hard. Right, so that part there is still hard because that's exposed. Now if we push that out into the mold, that's going to block up the mold. So there's going to be a section of hard plastic that we want to get rid of. Right, and so what we're going to do is push that out. Right, we're going to turn the motor on. And initially, the motor speed will be set up to 0 and it's in forward mode. And I'm going to press run. And it's running at 25 Hertz. And that's going to push some of this excess out. So there's going to be a section that's hard. We want to remove that and get rid of it. Once it starts to look soft, right, we can then turn it off. Right. So this is a wasted bit that we can't use. Right. Right. That's now soft enough and ready to use. Okay. Alright, so once the extruder is right, we're going to take the mold out of the oven. It's very hot, so we've got to make sure we've got our safety gear on. Right. Okay. Now this is the inside of the top of the mold, and where the plastic is going to stick. And so when we want to take it out, we want to help it by lubricating it a little bit. Right. And we're going to lubricate it using silicone spray. And all we need to do is to do a light spray on the surface of this. That's all it needs to be. Once we've done that, we can then screw the lids in with 4 of these nuts, these screws. And it doesn't have to be tight, and we certainly don't want it to be too tight, because once it's pressurized with the plastic, it's going to be very difficult to undo. But just tight enough to hold in there. Okay. Tying it with the Allen key. Okay, so that's ready to go into the extruder. Just checking the extruder again, make sure that we've got no excess plastic sticking out, because as soon as it's exposed to the air, it's going to firm up. So we're just going to remove a little bit of that again. That's now ready to go into the mold, sorry, into the extruder. We're going to screw it in. Until it hits the end. Okay, now it's ready to go. I'm just going to put my safety glasses on. Okay. Alright, so make sure that it is set to forward mode and it's currently not running. We're going to fill the hopper with some of the plastic and turn it on. And at this stage we're going to wait for the plastic to be melted and pushed through. Sometimes the shredded plastic will stick a little bit. If it does, we'll just agitate it to get it going down. And what we're looking for is when all of the plastic is pushed through and it can't anymore, the screw is going to pull back from the barrel, and we're going to hear a little bit of a screech indicating it's got pressure. At that moment, that's when we're going to stop. And you might see the motor rocking a little bit. And it's pushing back. The moment it pushes back too much, that's indicating that it can't push anymore. Right? So you see a bit of a buckle here, and sometimes you might hear a screech. Once it's full and it's under pressure, we're going to release the pressure a little bit by reversing it and running it for about 5 seconds. And you notice the motor kind of pulls back a little bit. Right. Now we're ready to pull the mold out. And when we do this, we want to put this into cold water straight away to cool down that exit. Otherwise, the plastic will push out. So we're leaving there for probably about a minute or so. While it's doing that, you can prepare the next one.
Yeah.
So after it's cooled for a little minute, you notice that we've got this knob of plastic out here. That's going to make it hard for the plastic to come out. So what we want to do is we want to remove it. Yeah, and we can remove it using a chisel by just cutting away at it. Now this seems to happen more with the PP and not as much with the HDPE. Okay, so if we've got a clean exit hole like that, that's going to make it easier to come out. Okay, all right. Once that's done, we can now remove our top lid. So to pry the lid off, we're going to use the screwdriver. Peel it off like that and lift it up. All right. So you can see now. If you look here, we've got a bit of a film here. So that probably indicates that there was much higher pressure than we need to. All right. We can probably drop the speed down a little bit. But to get rid of that, we can just use a Stanley knife and just trim that off. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to chop off that knob, and we do that by just using our chisel. Place a chisel there, give it a hit with a hammer, just to shear that off. All right. Now this is ready to come out. Now, one of the reasons why we want that cool down is that we're going to push the ejector knob. The ejector pin will push against this surface, and if the surface is soft, then the ejector pin will just go all the way through. Right? So that's why we wanted that to be cooled down. And then to release, just tap on the ejector pin, holding this on the corner, and out it comes.